Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am your host, Deja B. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers and those that have been watching. Like always, I will be sharing some scary and creepy fictional and non-fictional stories, and will post new content 2 or 3 times a week. Here we will see and hear 2 skin-crawling stories. With all that said, sit back, relax, and stay away from those dark corners.
In 1930, under the shroud of moonlit Key West in Florida, police officers descended upon the dwelling of Carl Tanzler. What they uncovered sent shivers down their spines, a macabre spectacle that transcended the boundaries of life and death. In the dimly lit chambers of Tanzler's abode, they stumbled upon the ghastly remains of Elena de Hoyos, a woman who had departed this world several years prior. Her body, once a vessel of vitality, was now a grotesque simulacrum, preserved like a life-size doll. And beside this nightmarish effigy, Carl Tanzler lay each night, entwined in a dance of the macabre. Whispers of his corpse, bride reverberated through the winding alleys of Key West, merging the true account with legends of the supernatural. Yet, the unadulterated truth itself was a bone-chilling saga, one that defied any embellishment. Carl Tanzler, a man ensnared in the clutches of an otherworldly vision, believed he had been chosen by celestial forces to love a woman with the complexion of midnight and the tinge of twilight upon her skin. Angels, he claimed, had bestowed upon him this divine revelation. Convinced that his soulmate lay beyond the seas of his homeland in Germany, he forsook all he had: wife, children, and sanity to heed the celestial call. As he set foot on American soil and wove the tapestry of his peculiar existence, Tanzler's estranged family recoiled from his peculiar obsession. Working as a radiology technician in the very heart of Key West, he crossed paths with the doomed Elena de Hoyos, a fragile Cuban-American flower withering under the relentless grip of tuberculosis. Elena was a beacon of tragedy. Her family, unable to afford the elixirs of salvation, was ensnared in despair. Tanzler, under the veil of a false identity, donned the role of a savior. From the bowels of the hospital, he pilfered medical equipment, anointed her family with gifts and gold, and became Elena's clandestine caretaker. Yet, as he professed his love, she reciprocated only with silence, for her heart belonged to another named Louis Mesa, her estranged husband. Their love, torn asunder by a miscarriage, lingered in the shadows of their lives. Bound by matrimony to others and limited by language, their connection remained elusive. Tanzler's obsession burgeoned into an unrequited infatuation, leading him to embark on horrific experiments in a misguided attempt to mend Elena's fading spirit. When Elena succumbed to the inexorable grasp of death in 1931, Tanzler offered to fund her funeral, crafting an elaborate tomb with a door only he possessed the key to. Night after night, he visited her, injecting her frail form with formaldehyde to preserve the illusion of life. The boundary between devotion and madness blurred as he whispered secrets into her lifeless ears, perhaps committing unspeakable acts in the depths of darkness. 2 years passed, and the echoes of Elena's voice, like a phantom's plea, haunted Tanzler's tortured mind. He embarked on a sinister odyssey, clandestinely exhuming her body and spiriting it away to his home, cradling her in a child's wagon. Her decaying visage demanded desperate measures: wire coat hangers, masquerading as bones, glass eyes in vacant sockets, and a wig woven from her very hair. Oils and tonics failed to mask the stench of death, and Tanzler's obsession transformed Elena into a grotesque parody of her former self, a waxy, chemically embalmed doll with unblinking eyes. Elena's lifeless form became Tanzler's constant companion, propped up in chairs, enshrouded in women's attire. He lay beside her every night, embracing her as if she were his beloved wife. His deranged existence teetered on the precipice of sanity, fueled by money from his estranged spouse and sustained in a decrepit shack. Yet, the horrors of his devotion knew no bounds. Tanzler harbored a fantastical belief that a journey into space aboard Elena's airship could resurrect her. Like the electric reanimation of Frankenstein's monster, he embarked on a futile quest to construct a spaceship in his backyard, a delusion eclipsing even the moon's reach. Suspicion whispered through the neighborhood, a man living alone, purchasing clothes for his phantom wife and dancing in shadowy seclusion with an inanimate specter. The revelation of his gruesome secret finally shattered the facade, summoning the authorities to his door. After 7 years, concealed in the shadow of his obsession, Karl Tanzler faced justice. Psychologists declared him mentally incompetent, yet the statute of limitations rendered him untouchable by the law. To the outside world, he was a lonely eccentric, pining for his wife, and some even saw a bizarre romanticism in his plight. With Tanzler incarcerated, medical examiners peeled back the layers of monstrosity he had imposed upon Elena's remains. The abominable truth lay bare. An actual necrophilic inclination remained possible, though unproven. Authorities, fearing he might reclaim her, consigned Elena's body to an unmarked grave. In his waning years, Tanzler penned his autobiography for fantastic adventures, aided by his compassionate, estranged wife. He earned U.S. citizenship and settled in Tampa, where whispers persisted that he recreated a life-size dummy in Elena's image. When death came for him, rumor whispered of his cold embrace with the grotesque simulacrum, a sinister echo of a love that transcended the boundaries of mortality. While the case of Karl Tanzler is quite unique and notorious, there have been other instances of necrophilia throughout history. However, the specific circumstances of Tanzler's case, including his obsession with a particular individual and his actions following her death, make it quite distinct. It's important to note that these cases are extremely rare and are generally regarded as disturbing and illegal. Until next time, stay safe and keep your body guarded. Alexander Pichushkin, also known as the Chessboard Killer, was caught in Moscow and convicted in 2007 for murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. When he was arrested, the officers came upon a chessboard that displayed dates on the squares. Apparently, the dates were in connection with all the murders he had committed. He stated his goal was to kill 64 people to fill in the squares on the chessboard. Due to the amount of murders he committed, they considered the death penalty would be best. Alexander Pichushkin was born in 1974 in Mytishchi, Moscow Oblast, Soviet Union, but grew up in Moscow on Khersanskaya Street with his mother, half-sister, her husband, and their child. A traumatic childhood accident where he was struck in the forehead by a swing altered his behavior, likely damaging his frontal cortex, which led to increased hostility and impulsiveness. His mother transferred him from a mainstream school to a special school, due to bullying. During his early adolescence, his maternal grandfather recognized his intelligence and encouraged his interest in chess, providing an outlet for his aggression. Sadly, his grandfather's death caused emotional turmoil, leading Pichushkin to turn to alcohol to cope. While continuing to excel at chess, Pichushkin struggled with alcoholism. During this time, he developed a sinister hobby, secretly videotaping himself threatening children whenever he anticipated contact with them. One chilling incident involved dangling a child upside down, stating his power over them. He would then watch the videos repeatedly to reaffirm his power. This disturbing pattern continued until 1992, when it escalated beyond these threats. Along with Andrei Chikatilo, who was convicted in 1992 for killing 52 people, Pichushkin would start his reign of murders. He was just 18 years old. Pichushkin was very precise with his murders. Well, at first. A lot of his murders took place at the same location for years in early 2000 in Moscow's Bitsevsky Park. He began by luring his victims to have a drink with him while he mourned over his dead dog. He would often target the elderly or the destitute to come to visit his dead dog's grave at Bitsevsky Park. See, when Pichushkin lost his grandfather, with whom he shared a close bond, he became very depressed. Pichushkin purchased a dog that would help ease his depression. He would take his dog to the park to help him through it. Moreover, no one really knows if his dog is really buried there or not, or if he even had a dog at all. Pichushkin would wait until his victims were intoxicated, and then would repeatedly strike them over the head using a hammer or a pipe. He would even strangle them to death. He would then hide the bodies by throwing them into a sewer pit. Some were still conscious, but then later drowned. As Pichushkin's killing progressed, his killing style grew more sinister. Some of his victims were left to be seen and found on purpose. When the bodies were found, the officers were shocked at what they were seeing. The victims lying face up with a broken vodka bottle sticking out of their skulls. Pichushkin seemed to care less and less about how he disposed of the bodies, as if he wanted to let the whole world know who and what kind of person they were up against. And by 2003, the newspaper nicknamed him the Bitsevsky Maniac and the Bitsa Beast. The residents in Moscow feared they were next, due to a serial killer on the loose. In the month of June 2006, Alexander Pichushkin's killing spree would soon come to an end. In 2006, he had extended a sinister invitation to his 36-year-old co-worker, Marina Moskalyova, proposing a seemingly innocent stroll together. Despite harboring reservations about Pichushkin, as reports suggest, Moskalyova reluctantly acquiesced to his proposal. As a precaution, she composed a note for her son, informing him of her company with Pichushkin, and left behind his contact number. Strikingly, Pichushkin was fully aware of this note but remained unperturbed. Tragically, the lifeless body of Moskalyova was discovered in the serene confines of Bitsa Park on the 14th of June 2006, bearing the telltale marks of Pichushkin's brutal signature. The authorities stumbled upon a vital clue in the form of a Moscow metro ticket found in her possession, leading them to scrutinize the surveillance footage from the metro system. There, they uncovered chilling images of her, captured mere hours prior to her demise, walking on a platform beside Pichushkin. Upon his apprehension, Pichushkin cooperated with the police, escorting them to the macabre scenes of numerous crimes committed in Bitsa Park. Astonishingly, he demonstrated an uncanny recall of the gruesome details surrounding each murder. This grim process, a standard component of Russian criminal investigations, was captured on film as Pichushkin meticulously recreated the sinister acts he had perpetrated. Furthermore, He divulged a startling revelation. Not all his victims had met their demise through his preferred method of hammer blows to the back of the head. Some unfortunate souls had met their end by being cast into the labyrinthine sewer lines beneath Pizza Park, albeit with one exception, where a victim survived this nightmarish ordeal. He stated that his first murder felt like first love. It was unforgettable. Pichushkin chillingly claimed that the power to decide life or death granted him a godlike sensation. In all cases, I killed for only one reason. I killed to live, because when you kill, you want to live, he declared. He likened life without murder to a life without sustenance for him. He asserted, "For me, life without murder is like life without food for you." I felt like the father of all these people, since it was me who opened the door for them to another world. Following his arrest, law enforcement stumbled upon a chilling chessboard adorned with dates on 61 or 62 of its 64 squares, revealing Pichushkin's morbid fixation on matching his killings to the number of squares on the board. Despite the date references, Pichushkin was officially charged with murder and attempted murder. Notably, 3 of his victims survived. Pichushkin, devoid of remorse, even contended that he should face additional murder charges, aligning with his claim of killing either 61 or 63 individuals. His account varied. During his 2007 trial, he remarked, "I thought it would be unfair to forget about the other 11 people." In October 2007, Pichushkin was convicted, with the jury taking merely 3 hours to declare him guilty of 48 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. Subsequently, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. The heinous nature of his crimes reignited discussions about the reinstatement of Russia's death penalty. As of 2023, Alexander Pichushkin, also known as the Chessboard Killer, is serving a life sentence in the impossible-to-escape polar owl penal colony at Karp Village in the Arctic north of Siberia. He will never be released unless he escapes.
Thank you for watching. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to receive my newly uploaded videos. Thank you.